Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a little DIY project. We're going to be switching out the heater control cable on a 2016 Chevy Sonic. This is the new cable here. I'm going to show you guys step by step how to get this replaced in your car. Again, this is a 2016 Chevy Sonic. So for this project, we're only going to need a couple of basic tools, a flathead screwdriver, a couple of plastic panel pry tools, and a small wrench. In my case, I ordered a 5.5 millimeter ratcheting wrench from Amazon. And the reason I did this is because there is one screw in here that we have to get to, which actually attaches to this end of the cable here where it connects to the blend door behind the dash. There is a small screw there, and that screw is a 5.5 millimeter. It can be done with just a regular wrench, but it's just a lot easier if you have the ratcheting mechanism because it is limited space to work. You guys will see in the video. So let's get to the car and get this project started. So the warm weather has finally come around. This control knob here broke on me when the winter was just beginning and it was pretty cold out, so I didn't want to get involved in replacing it then. So what I did was I manually overrode the blend door so that I can get heat throughout the winter. Now, because I did the manual override, I wasn't able to switch it outside of heat, so you know, it didn't bother me. It was cold and all I needed was heat anyway. So now that it's warming up, I'm going to go ahead and replace this cable. If you want to know how to do it yourself as far as overriding the blend door, you can check out my other video. I'll leave a link to that in the description below as well. I'll also leave a link in the description for the cable that's required for this job, and of course that little ratchet wrench that I picked up on Amazon. So for starters, we're going to remove the glove box, and that's pretty easy to remove. There is a little on this side, a little damper that keeps the glove box from like opening too fast, as you can see there. And that is just a little rubber ring. You push it to the side, and once that's removed, then you can squeeze the sides of the glove box here on both sides until these little rubber pieces come out, and then just pull the whole thing off and put it to the side. That's as simple as it is to remove the glove box. Okay, so I want to show you where we're going to be working. If you look in the back over there on the left-hand side where I'm pointing the light now, you'll see where the wire comes out from behind the dash and then connects to that little ring back there. That's where the screw is, the 5.5 millimeter screw that we have to remove. And as you can see, it's in a pretty tight spot. So that's why I recommend trying to get the ratcheting wrench if you can off of Amazon. But you can also do it with just a regular wrench or even an adjustable wrench. Before we remove this here, this is the knob that's not working. It turns, but the wire itself behind it is not either broken or not connected. We'll find out as soon as we pull this off. So to pull this off, there are 4 screws here, here, and here that have to be removed. But in order to get to those screws, we have to remove this panel here. We have to remove this trim here. And we have to remove this trim above the touchscreen radio. This is the LT model, so this actually has a clock up there. I know some people have like a pocket where you can put like a pair of sunglasses or whatever, and usually when you have that, there's 2 screws up there, but in this case there is no screws. It's just 2 clips. There's 2 metal clips, one here, and then a couple of plastic clips here, here, and here. So we're going to pull from the top and then pull the whole thing out, but we have to do this in order. So we're going to start pulling this off first, then this, then we'll pull this off, and that will expose this area here so that we can remove the 4 screws to get to the wiring behind this. Okay, so I've tried to angle this camera as best that I can so that you can see what I'm doing while I'm working here. I'm going to use this tool here to pull up on these corners here. There you go. Now when you pull this up, there is a connector down here, a wiring connector. You have to remove that. That is what lights up the the position markings on this. So let me go ahead and disconnect that wiring harness. And there you go, take that right out. Now that that's out of the way, we want to go ahead and remove this piece. There are two clips up here, so we're going to pull from this side first to pull this entire black plastic trim off. There we go. Just basically put your fingers, your thumbs onto these corners here and pull up, and that should release that plastic. Now the shifter is in the way, so I'm gonna have to put the key in the ignition and pull the shifter back. Let me pull up the parking brake. There. And that gets that piece out of the way. Take the key out so the chime doesn't drive me crazy because I have the door open. It's hot out, so I want to make sure I can breathe in here. So already we've exposed two of the screws that we have to take out. But before we get to that, we're going to go ahead and remove this trim here. Remember, there's two metal clips here and the rest of them are plastic. So you want to pry from up here to pull it off. Oh, you know what? Before we move on, I just wanted to show you guys. Here's the metal clips and two metal clips here. And that's why when we pulled here, we yanked it right out. So, okay guys, so I realized that the camera angle was off when I removed this. So just going to show you guys real quick. What I ended up doing to remove this one is I went up here with the pry tool right here and just kind of pushed. And once you pop these two clips out, you grab it from the sides and pull the whole thing out. And this is what you're left with. Again, these are the two metal clips at the top, two metal clips just below the vents, and then the rest is just plastic, which guides it into place. So now all we have to remove is 1, 2, 3, 4 to remove this and get access to the control cable behind this knob. These are 7mm screws. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 7mm socket here, and I'm going to go ahead and remove those. They're not on very tight, so keep that in mind when you put them back on. You don't want to over tighten them. This is plastic. You don't want to crack it. Look at that. I don't even need the ratchet to remove them. So there you go, guys. Removed all 4 screws. Now we should just be able to pop this out. But when you pull this out, again, be gentle because there is a couple of connectors back here. I believe there's 6 connectors and all the cables for these knobs here. So we're going to start pulling those off one by one. All right, so I just noticed something. I don't think my cable is broken from what it looks like back there. I don't know how well you guys can see this. It looks like the wires just came off the track. So I might actually be able to fix that without having to replace the cable. If that's the case, then, you know, we're out of the woods. Let's try to just pull that piece off before I remove anything else and see if we can fix that. If not, then I'll continue removing this whole thing out so that we can replace the cable. So with the screwdriver, what I'm doing is I'm pressing in on 2 clips that hold that cable in place, the entire assembly. There we go. So I'll show you guys. Okay, so this is it. This is the piece, right? What I did was with the screwdriver, I pushed in on these little tabs here and slid it back to remove it from the button. But I'm looking here and the cable is not broken. What happened was when I forced it, I guess the cables just basically jumped out of their track. So to put them back, let me see how well I can show you guys this. Put the cable back on its track here. rotate it so that it falls back in. Now we're going to grab this cable over here, turn it as much we can, get the cable back in here. I know it's hard for you guys to see what I'm doing, but if you remove yours and you see that the cables are there and not broken, you'll understand what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm trying to get this cable back into the track here. All right, that worked out a little better. So there we go. I was able to get the cable back on the track. So now as I move this, I can hear the door back there actually rotating. So we know we got this right. And just snap it right back in. It only goes in one way, so you can't get it wrong. So what I'm doing is I'm turning the knob until I find the sweet spot where the wire, the connector actually clips in. Because I can't see the back side, it just makes it a little harder. There we go. I think I got it. Yep. There, it clipped in. So now the knob turns all the way to the hot and all the way to the cold. And from the feel of it, that back, I know that door back there is turning. So I'll put the camera on the floor to show you that it's working. So basically what happened in my case, the cable didn't break, it just snapped off the track. So I was able to save that cable and just put it back on the track as you guys saw me do. And I don't have to go through the hassle of replacing the whole thing, at least not for now. I'm turning the knob and you can see the door turning. That means that the cable is working like it's supposed to. And there, a job done. Now we're just going to go ahead and pop all this back into place. To do that, make sure if you did remove the wiring harnesses, make sure that you put them all back where they belong. You don't want to have to take all this apart because you forgot to connect the wiring harness. And then you go ahead and you put your 7mm screws back in. Start them by hand so you don't strip the threading on them. And do not use a ratchet to tighten them because obviously they're not very tight. They're pretty loose. It's not going to go anywhere. You know, the trim itself sits over this and it's holding it down, you know, not just the screws. So gotta do it hand tight. That's good enough. There we go. Put it on here. And that's it. 4 screws. I'm going to check them again. I'm not using a ratchet, just the extension. All right, that's tight enough. So now we're going to go ahead and put this little bezel back on. Remember, 4 metal clips and then the guide pins here and here. You could see where the guide pins go in here. So just actually down here, the 2 bottom guide pins, and then the 2 other pins go right here. These are these. And just nice and straight going in. Make sure your guide pins are in place. And once it goes in that far, just pop it back in. Remember, once you hear those 4 clips go in and the bottom goes in, you're golden. That's it. And now we put the bottom piece on. All right. So now we're going to grab this guy over here. Remember, there are 4 metal clips. Actually, yeah, 2 at the bottom, 2 at the top, and then some guide pins in the middle. Like before, make sure it's centered properly. Oh yeah, that's right. I put the car back in park, so I'm going to have to move the shifter. Hold on, maybe yeah, definitely have to move the shifter back. So turn the key. There we go. Just to get this in. Once this is in, make sure you don't put the shifter back in park. Take the key out so the chime doesn't drive you crazy. Make sure it's nice and centered. Make sure that this little wire harness here is not stuck underneath because you're going to need to connect that. Pop it in, and that's it. Give it a nice push. Everything is connected. And then the last piece you want to put in is this. And That's it. Bring this down. Make sure you connect this wiring harness back up until it clips. There, it's in. Put the wiring harness in there. Get the back clips in. And put this sucker right in. Nope, let's start again. I think we gotta go from that side first. Yeah, go in from the front first, and then push the sides and the bottom in. And that's it. She's in there, nice and firm. Everything is back in order. It's all put back together. Make sure she's on park. See if this works, and yep, it's working perfectly. You can feel the resistance from the blend door moving back there. Okay, so before I put the glove box back in, I want to show you guys the little damper right here. See this little piece here? This is the damper that keeps the glove box from, you know, opening too quickly. All right, so we're going to go ahead and attach the glove box. The bottom of the glove box just snaps right into these two little sections here, and then you squeeze the sides in to get those rubber corners in here, and then connect the damper on the side of the glove box, and you're done. Go. These are the little rubber pieces on the sides to keep the glove box from opening up completely. Put that in. There we go. Snapped right in. You see that? But I have to connect that little damper, otherwise when I open the glove box, it opens too quickly. And everything is connected and back in business. So guys, thanks for watching my video. I'm sorry that this turned out to be just a repair and not a replacement. But as you saw, in my case, I lucked out. And the only thing that I didn't do in this case was basically remove the wire connected from the back where it connects to the blend door with the one screw. That's the only thing we didn't do. So it's pretty much the same process. If you end up having to replace yours, if yours is not repairable, then you know basically the steps of removing the trim and how to disconnect the cable, and then you just run it behind the dash to connect it to the blend door in the back. So if you found this video helpful, please make sure that you let me know, leave a comment, smash that like button. Make sure that you are subscribed so that when I put up new videos, you can be notified. I do a lot of DIYs and a lot of tool reviews. So if you're like myself, a driveway mechanic, and you like to save a lot of money by fixing your own car, that's what this channel is all about. I do appreciate your feedback. I do respond to everyone's. The next project I have coming up is a valve cover replacement. The valve cover on this car is starting to leak around the gasket. The cover itself is cracked, so I'm going to go ahead and just replace that. It's cracked around the outer edges. So, you know, I'm just going to, if I'm going to pull it off to put a gasket on there, I'm just going to go ahead and replace the whole thing. So make sure you're subscribed if you're interested in seeing that video. Again, guys, thank you so much for your loyalty and for continuing to watch my videos. I'll see you on the next one.